Howdy folks, and welcome to this Hillbilly Kitchen van adventure. Today we're in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and we're going to ride our electric e-bikes around the Cades Cove Loop. These have got to be some of the coolest toys we've ever had. We can load 2 of them on the back of the van, and then when we get to where we're going, we can explore our destination in a way that we never could before. We can see much more. We don't have to worry about traffic, we don't have to worry about parking, and we don't have to worry about gas prices. So come and ride with us. There are still several old churches with the cemeteries and several of the original homesteads in Cades Cove Loop, and you can stop and walk around them. There are old cabins and the churches, and we have been blessed today. There are actually people inside the church playing music. So we're going to step inside here for a minute. This was the Baptist church, and all these structures, though, they didn't have like foundations that we do today. They have these rocks. And this was probably originally log. It's Cades Cove Primitive Baptist Church, and it was established in 1827. But it was probably originally logged, and then it was covered with this siding. y'all called? Are you a group or did you just hillbillies? Well, me too. But did y'all just show up here and play together? Okay.
I just met these guys.
No.
Once in our lifetime for this.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. You want to tell me your names?
Keith Yoder.
Yoder. Okay.
Hey,
Daryl.
thanks, man.
Okay. You brothers?
Yeah.
Okay. And the lady that just showed up?
Angela Clark.
Steve Clark. Jack Trexler.
Well, thank y'all very much. That was great. So tell people, Rocky Branch in Wallen, y'all get together.
Mountain Music in Wallen, Tennessee.
Okay. So if y'all want to hear a lot of this, show up there on Friday night, and these guys and a whole bunch more will be there. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Really enjoyed it. Y'all enjoy your day. We're at the halfway point of the Cades Cove Loop right now, and this is the Cable Mill historic site. There's a mill, there's a home site. It's basically an entire early American community that existed in the park before it was a park. There's a couple of houses, a couple of barns, and the creek out back, which the communities were always located on the water. You had to have the water to run the mill, and you had to have the water to irrigate gardens and crops. So the creeks were absolutely necessary for a community to be established. You can walk all around this and see the entire little community, and you can visit the visitor center, and this is the only place on the loop where there are restrooms. So if you don't stop here and use the facilities, you get to find a tree like a bear. But this is a good place to stop and walk around, and there's certainly a lot to see here. You can also tour all the churches, and there are a couple other homesteads along the loop that you can walk through, and they're all open and you can see everything that was here just like it was before the park was established. The park was established in the 30s, but this is all basically from the 1800s. It was settlements, pioneer settlements pretty much. And this is definitely a good place to spend a weekend. Perfect for a Sunday drive, or in season in the summertime on Wednesdays. The loop is closed and it is only open to bicycles, including class 1 and class 2 e-bikes. So our electric bikes, we can use them here on bike days only, and there's no car traffic all the way around the loop, which if you're a bicyclist is a really nice thing.
This is the Cable Mill, originally built by John Cable around 1870. But John was a local farmer, so he operated his community mill, and people would come from all over the cove one day a week and bring their corn. He had a shed where they'd wait their turn, and then he'd grind their corn for them, and he'd keep 1/8 of whatever he ground, because it took him about 6 years to build this. But John died around 1900, so his son James operated it till the early 1920s. And then when the Park Service took over in the 1930s, they had the CCC rebuild it.
Oh. What was your name, sir?
Ken?
Well, thank you very much, Ken. We appreciate it.
Sure thing.
It's amazing how much has been preserved here.
Yeah.
It's like that mill up at Rose Mountain.
Just left the visitor center that's in the middle of the loop, and we're just kind of driving through the woods here. The nice thing about biking here, even when they don't have the bike days, is the speed limit around this loop is only 10 miles an hour. And most of the time on these bikes, we're going faster than that. Most of the time on any bike, people are going to be going faster than that. But because the car traffic is only 10 miles an hour, you're not likely to get run over if you do bring your bike here and ride it. On a Sunday though, or Saturday in season, this place is so packed, the traffic is pretty much at a standstill through here. This is the first stop after the mill and the visitor center, and it is Dan Lawson's homestead. And you can actually go into the house. There's no furnishings in it, but the log house is here. And you can look around and see what size it was and all that stuff. It's very small, the doors, and you can even kind of peek upstairs, and we'll do that. These stairs are so tight. It's the world's tightest spiral staircase. And in these homestead houses like this, the kids usually all slept up here in the attic. And that was true for years. And these kids are lucky. They had a window that looks like they could open in the summertime to let the heat out. Of course, in the wintertime, I can see cracks in the ceiling up there. So it wouldn't have been too warm anywhere in the winter. But I don't know if you can see these stairs. Look at this. It's straight down. Wasn't nobody running up and down these steps. Hey, Jim. That's my line. But this is just really cool that you can stop and walk through these old log cabins, and it's still the same structure that it was in the 1800s and in the early 1900s when the park took over the land and these people had to move. And all of their buildings are still here. There's not any labels on this one. This could have been used to store corn. It could have been used even for like chickens and stuff. There's no telling because there's no labels. And I'm sure there is. You can buy a little guidebook. It's $1.50. And I got one, but I don't have it with me. And I would say in the guidebook, all of these little buildings are labeled, but that's about the size of a corn crib. And they usually had a building for the corn, a building for the chickens, and a building for the pigs, because all farms had a pig or two. This one here has a floor. This would not have been for animals. It would have been for something else. And just in case you're considering coming here and carving your name in one of these buildings, if you get caught, it's a federal crime, so don't do it. And besides that, nobody cares if you were here. And they had a pretty big barn here. And these fields in the bottom land, you can see over where the tree line is there's a little creek. And that's what I said, all of these homesteads had to have water. They were all on creeks. And here's the back side of the house. So we're going to get back on the road, but my goodness, what a view they had from their porch. And that is why this is now a national park for everybody to enjoy. This is the Tipton place, and the whole farm is still here, just like the last one. A little bit bigger house, and there's a lot more buildings around here. Again, it's right on a creek because you had to have water. And you have the same foundations as with the church, just stacked rocks. And I don't know this, but I'm guessing that was the kitchen because that's the way these houses were built. The kitchen was out back, so in the summertime when you cooked, you didn't heat the whole house up. It looks like there was a big fireplace right there and it's closed up, so I'm gonna stick with this was most probably the kitchen. And these folks were lucky because a lot of people just cooked outside, and it looks like they actually had an indoor kitchen. The whole cabin would have been heated by the fireplace over here. And this is a pretty fancy fireplace. Much nicer steps than the last house. Creaky steps. And all this is open and you can just walk through it. I'll fall with my camera. And this is a nice big bedroom with a tall ceiling. And these kids were really, really lucky because they have a window at both ends. 2 windows at this end. So they could have opened this up in the summertime. And the way this house is built with these windows upstairs, the downstairs would have stayed very cool here in the summertime because it would have actually pulled a draft through the house with these windows open. This is Carter Shields' cabin and was probably a very typical mountain cabin. It's kind of that one-room style that you hear about in all the old stories. A one-room cabin with a fireplace. And they did have a loft for the kids, it looks like. A little closet. And a steep set of steps going up to the loft. Very low ceiling. The doorways in this cabin give it a really, really nice breeze. You know, there wasn't no air conditioning in the 1800s. Or even the early 1900s.
I'll take your word for it.
So you had to build your cabin so that the breeze would blow through it. And the little creek kind of also kept it cool. I don't know if you've ever been in the woods before by a creek, but it's cooler than it is not by a creek. This barn, the style of it is called a cantilever barn, and it's because it's made out of these huge logs that stretch out past the foundation and the center like supports. They don't build these barns a lot anymore, but they were again built so that what you stored in them didn't rot. You can see the foundation is these 2 little square like storage areas, and then it has the big loft up over it. And then you also have all this kind of covered area down here where you could store your wagons and your plows and all that kind of stuff. And also in storms, livestock could take refuge. And one big log going all the way across is what supported the roof on the smaller foundation, which is set on cornerstones. All of these buildings are constructed on just rocks. They're piles of rocks are what the foundation are. And I'm pretty sure that you are allowed to climb that ladder if you come here, which I can't do with a phone in my hand, but you can actually go up in the loft of this barn because it's not closed off in any way, and it doesn't have any signs that say don't do it. And generally speaking, in this park, unless there's a sign that says don't do it, you're allowed to look and experience everything that is here to see and do. The coolest thing about this electric bike is that this is a pretty good hill here, and I'm pedaling, and I have the bike set on pedal assist. But even on pedal assist, it gets a little bogged down and it turns into quite a bit of work. But you can hit the throttle, and I'm going up this hill at the speed limit on this road, and I ain't even breathing hard. And when you get to the downhill parts, these bikes have disc brakes on both the front and the back wheel, so you can maintain your speed. And it looks like the speed limit here is 20 miles an hour. The park ranger told us it was only 10. Oh well. And we're coming to another really steep downhill part. But these brakes, you know, a lot of the places actually recommend that if you are riding a bicycle, you get off and walk your bike. With these brakes, you really don't have to do that. Just a tip though, if you're not used to driving on the hills because you're not from this part of the country or from some other part of the country that has mountains, it doesn't matter if you're on a bicycle or in a car. Don't hold your brakes when you're going down a steep hill. Pump them. If you hold your brakes, they will get very, very hot and could catch fire even. I don't know about on this bicycle, but they certainly could on your car. But they just don't work as well, and it will wear them out much quicker. So you just pump them a little bit. And you can probably hear my brakes engaging while I'm doing this. We are coming to the end of our ride, and we went the speed limit most of the way or more. Pedal assist up all the hills. I mean, you know, I've been pedaling the bike, but not like wearing myself out. And I've got a fair amount of exercise. But the thing is that we had enough energy when we got to the cool places that we needed to walk around and look at, that we could get off the bikes and walk around and look at them. And we still got to enjoy the ride at a very slow speed. And we could hear the birds and all that stuff because there's very little noise. I think we spent about 5 hours, and we stopped and looked at almost all of the pull-offs, you know, the major pull-offs. We walked around down by the mill, and we looked at all the homesteads and walked around them. So if you've got 5 hours or so, 6 hours, you can bring your bike out here and you can tour around this, and it is a very nice day. Psalm 113:3. From the rising of the sun unto the going down of the same, the Lord's name is to be praised. Spending the day in a place like Cades Cove, enjoying the magnificence of God's creation, stepping back through time, will certainly give you reason to praise His name from the rising of the sun unto the going down. Thank you so much for joining us on this little adventure. If you haven't already, please don't forget to click like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss any of our visits. And until next time, remember to put God first.